Just as they had done 70 years before, former evacuees gather in Gravesend ready to set sail.
Nobody told us where we were going or why we were going. In those days you didn't ask questions.
It's like you're going off on a day trip on the river. I don't remember being crying or making a big fuss.
We were assembled at schools and were taken down to the boats and sent off. The parents weren't allowed to go down with the children, just the school and school teachers. Although my father came and picked us up. He was a policeman in Gravesend and had taken one school down, came and joined us. And I came down on his shoulders. I asked him later why. Is it because I was crying my bloody eyes out?
3,694 children boarded boats sailing away from their families to Norfolk, where some would spend the duration of the war. The reunion was organised by evacuee Howard Baker, who was just 5 when he was sent away.
Gravesend was one of the many places that was decided to be evacuated, and the government had a huge operation called Pied Piper, and they spent 3 days sending 1.5 million children out of the capital and away from places near it, and we were part of that. It was 3 days of boats leaving Gravesend. Ours was the 3rd day from Gravesend. 5 pleasure boats, some paddle streams. There was a lot of pressure by the government to send the children away. Adverts all over the place, and they made them send the children away for their own sake. Because don't forget there'd been invasions of countries by the Germans beforehand, and what they'd done is gone blitzkrieged the cities and then just marched in, and that's what they expected here. They expected them to be coming over straight away on the first day of war, and we were on our way round to Norfolk when war was declared. And they didn't tell us on the boat, but this country is at war with Germany.
On board, there are evacuees who have kept in touch over the decades, like Shirley and Mary, who were evacuated together aged 6.
The first billet we went to was Mrs. Harden in Ferguson Lodge, and she was the lady of the manor. I can just visualise her sitting in her drawing room, but we always used the back stairs. The one thing I do remember, we all had our own bath towels with our initials on. There were 2 maids, Ethel and Dorothy.
In uniform?
In uniform. And they wore navy in the morning and maroon in the afternoon. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. But I think maybe she found it not her cup of tea to have evacuees around the place, 4 of us. And so we moved on. That's when we went to
the old forge.
The old forge, which was the sort of small holding. And then for some reason I went on to another family on the village green. It might be because I had asthma and was a whingy little soul.
But not all evacuation stories end happily.
The woman was telling this story amongst 33 people who were listening to a lecture talk I was giving. And they asked, she said that her parents were fighting over whether she should go or not. And her mother didn't want her to go, her father did. And she just sat there and said that her mother gassed herself. Frightening, awful.
And it isn't just former evacuees on board.
The most significant thing almost for me is having my grandchildren here with me to show them and tell them the story, let them hear the story of my life and to know the history of Gravesend and our family.
I really can't imagine what it would have been like It must have been really, really sad, and I really wouldn't know what to think of it. I don't know what I'd do if I came up with a situation like that. I really don't know.
Yeah, it would have been heartbreaking just to leave everything behind and just taking a few things and going to strangers, like miles and miles away from your home.
You must be very proud of your granddad doing things like this to keep memory alive.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him. I know that lots of people just wouldn't bother, but my granddad's a real doer and he goes to get things. So I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, and the people that have come today have actually put a bit of effort into it and not just said, oh, I did that 70 years ago, it doesn't really matter now, but it does really.
Unfortunately, the high winds meant that in the end the boat couldn't leave the dock.
No. It's too risky, you can't do it. And as it's nearly 2 o'clock, we'll only be out for about half an hour, and I'm afraid we're going to have to abandon the trip. I don't know what to say to you. Thank you so much for coming. Perhaps we'll all go along to the... I'll tell you what, I'll buy everybody a beer along at the Three Doors. How's that?
After the abandoning of the boat trip, the journey was ended at the local pub, where stories continue to be exchanged over a pint or two.